It's obvious to all of us that we are heading in the wrong direction. I don't want the biggest suburbs of young Kiwi families to be in Brisbane. And I certainly don't want older New Zealanders who are aching to hug their grandchildren that they talk to on Zoom but are growing up in Australia because their parents were forced overseas. And I certainly don't want more New Zealanders becoming victims of brazen offenders riding a crime wave across our country. New Zealand can be so much better than this. The only reward for success right now is higher taxes, and Labor and the Greens talking as though successful people are to blame for those who are struggling, and that is so wrong. Kiwis who are struggling need a well-managed economy so they can have higher wages, tax relief and an end to the cost of living crisis and a housing market that works. And it's no wonder that there's such a mood for change everywhere I go, because people are sick of the division, they're sick of the mismanagement, they're sick of the lawlessness. A top priority for a national government that I lead will be fixing this economy, because Kiwis are sick of slogging their guts out only to fall further and further behind. During COVID, Labor's printing of money was the 5th highest in the world. Their spending was the 2nd highest per capita amongst the developed countries. The pandemic is over, but the spending has not stopped. And Labor's spending is 80% higher than National's was 6 years ago. And that explosion equates to an additional $28,000 per household a year. But nothing, absolutely nothing, has improved by 80%. And in fact, most things have gone backwards. And to pay for all of that spending, Labor's taxing more and they're borrowing more. And the government is now collecting an additional $100 million a day in tax. But even that's not enough, because now debt has exploded from $5 billion in 2019 to $71 billion today. And I tell you, that is just credit card economics. We're now spending more on the interest on our debt than we're spending on primary schools or police. And servicing that debt is now this government's 4th highest expense. You know, this is New Zealand under a Labor government. And I'm telling you now, New Zealand can't afford 3 more years of it, and just can't understand how there can be 50,000 more people on job seeker benefit, 50,000 more than when National left office. And with such a fast rise in interest rates, New Zealanders with mortgages feel like they're on a treadmill that's just going faster and faster, and they're at risk of falling off. New Zealand needs a fresh start. It needs a different approach. It needs a new team. It needs real solutions. We'll bring an end to the cost of living crisis. We're going to provide tax relief because you earned your income, you should keep more of it, and you should decide what you get to do with it. Half of the total roll of students are not even regularly attending school, and getting a good grounding in the basics that are going to set them up for life. So under National, every day, every child in every school will do an hour each of reading, writing and maths. We'll give 130,000 low and middle income families a tax rebate on early childhood education, up to $75 per week, paid directly into their bank accounts. And the genius idea is we're going to pay for it by ending the flagrant addiction to consultants and contractors in Wellington here. We're going to deliver more nurses and more midwives by making their student loan repayments up to $22,000 over 5 years, provided they remain working here in New Zealand. I've got to tell you, Three Waters is a goner. Today, I'm announcing tougher sentences for criminals, more support for victims and more rehabilitation for more prisoners. And under a national government I lead, Labor's soft-on-crime experiment is going to end. It hasn't worked. There's more crime, there are more offenders, and there are so many more victims that the money's run out to help them all. And I've already announced that National will back police to tackle gangs, we'll ban gang patches in public spaces, and we'll stop gang members from gathering in public. But I can tell you that what doesn't work are soft messages like Labor's target of a 30% reduction in the prison population. I would really love to see that too, but only if there's a 30% reduction in crime. And therefore, I'm announcing today that National will remove that prisoner reduction target. Now, we're also going to restore the 3 strikes policy for serious offenders. This This was brought in to ensure that the worst repeat violent criminals faced appropriate sentences for continued offending. And Labor, in another of its soft messages to criminals, got rid of it. Labor can continue only as part of a coalition of chaos with all the taxing, all the borrowing, all the wasteful spending, all the fluff, all the slogans that would come with it. And the alternative is a national-led government managing a strong economy well so that New Zealanders can get ahead. A strong economy can afford the things that we all want: more accessible health services, better education for every child, more environmental protection, better highways, resilient infrastructure, safer roads and safer streets. Labor will give you excuses. I'm telling you, National will give you results. National will end the cost of living crisis. National will lift incomes and provide tax relief. National will restore law and order. We are coming back to manage the economy well and to end the cost of living crisis. We are coming back to give you tax relief, to fix the roads, to cut the hospital wait lists, to build more infrastructure and to produce more clean energy. And we are coming back to make our education system world-class again. And we're coming back to make our country safer. And I tell you, that's a Prime Minister's job, and if Chris Hipkins won't do it, I will gladly do it, because I will do it.